us for Kemetic Ascension. I am ecstatic that you are here. Ankh and Ma'at, please come on in, come on in, come on in. I am hoping that you will be coming in shortly. Ankh and Ma'at to all of you. Ankh and Ma'at, Ankh and Ma'at. Let me make sure that we are live. There we are, Ankh and Ma'at, Ankh and Ma'at. I must apologize for not being able to come in last week. Of course, that was where we were having some technical difficulties. So attempting to come in, it just wasn't working. But I'm really pleased to be with you. To be here with you today, Ankh and Ma'at, Ankh and Ma'at. Welcome to Kemetic Ascension. Peace to all of you. I greet you in the divine words of peace. I say Hetepu and Ankh and Ma'at. Ankh and Ma'at to Naima Ra. Ankh and Ma'at to Just Call Me Z. Ankh and Ma'at to you all. Come on in, come on in, come on in. I believe that you should already be aware of what we usually do. We always, at this point, ask people to tell us where in the world they are and for how long they have been part of Kemetic Ascension. Please go ahead and tell me where in the world you are and how long you've been part of Kemetic Ascension. Can I say Ankh and Ma'at to that wonderful couple of Schaefers who are coming to us from Kemet? Actually in Kemet, Ankh and Ma'at to you. I'm so pleased that you're here with us today. Ankh and Ma'at, Ankh and Ma'at, Ankh and Ma'at to you all. I'm asking that you have a divinely balanced life. I hope that you are doing well. Greetings, 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 and Ankh and Ma'at to you all. I'm hoping, it seems like most of you are on YouTube. That's good. I'm glad that you're on YouTube. And I'm wondering where the Facebook folks are, but I do know that we are live on Facebook. With all the technical challenges that we've had, I just want to make sure that we are coming out live. Ankh and Ma'at to Just Call Me Z. Ankh and Ma'at coming to us from Dallas, Texas for about 2 years. Ankh and Ma'at to Societe Commentare. Ankh and Ma'at to you in peace. Good to see you. Ankh and Ma'at to Ra Moses. And Tallahassee, Florida. I like that. Tallahassee, Florida. Ankh and Ma'at to you. Ankh and Ma'at to Ron Green, coming to us from Alton, Illinois. I'm not sure where Alton, Illinois is. Not that I know much about Illinois. I mean, obviously, I think I've been to Champaign many, many years ago and to Chicago most recently. Just wondering where you are, Ankh and Ma'at. Naima Ra, coming to us from Illinois, started tuning in about 4 or 5 months ago. Dua, I'm so glad that you are here. Ankh and Ma'at to you. I hope that all of you are doing well. And I really hope that you are doing the work that we are meant to do, doing that work. Oh, you're from Champaign. Oh, good. Yeah, I was there many years ago. It's a long time ago. I guess it was like right after college I had gone there for a lecture, if I remember correctly. Boy, this is like 30 years ago. So Ankh and Ma'at to Solomonic TV, Hetep from Trinidad and Tobago. Dua, you are probably the furthest away from us right now. Although, I don't know, Denver, Colorado, on the other side of the country, might take longer to get to by plane. Ankh and Ma'at to you, coming to us. Taseti coming to us from there. Ankh and Ma'at to All True for You. Hetep to you, Hetep to you. Ankh and Ma'at to Herurasar, Ankh Amun Ra, coming to us from Dallas, Texas. Ankh and Ma'at to you, Ankh and Ma'at to you. Ankh and Ma'at to Chris Doper, Michigan. Hotep to you. I'm seeing, let's see, a few other, Ankh Ma'at just in time. You're going to South Africa to see the Zulu, Ankh Ma'at. You know, I have not been to South Africa yet. It's one of those places that I truly hope I will be visiting soon. I have not been there yet. Ankh Ma'at, have a safe trip. When are you going? I'd love to know more about your trip. It should be amazing. There's Kalila Skipper, Ankh Ma'at to you. I'm so pleased that you are here. Certainly, I have to say that I have not seen my sister Kalila in a while. We traveled to Kemet together some years ago. Ankh Ma'at to you. I hope all is well, sis. Ankh Ma'at to you all. I want to go ahead and say that I'm so honored that you have chosen to spend part of your Sunday with the Shrine of Ma'at. I know that there's so many other things that you should be or even could be doing. So I'm honored that you've chosen to spend some time here with us for Kemetic Ascension. This is that gathering where we attempt to become stronger practitioners of this ancient African tradition that comes from Kemet, that comes from Kush. I must say that I am honored that you are here with us, Ankh Ma'at, Ankh Ma'at. Can I also say that today we'll be talking a bit about the wisdom in sacred motherhood. You know that at least in the United States, next week will be Mother's Day. It's one of those important days in the year. Just making sure that we talk a bit about divine motherhood today in preparation. You were wondering about my thoughts on modern events. I mean, I guess like the AES state or Sudan falling. When you say AES state, what are you referring to? I'm not sure if I understand what you mean. Ankh Ma'at to Robert James, come to us from London in the UK. That's certainly the furthest away. You're almost always here. I think you're always here for Kemetic Ascension. Ankh Ma'at to you. Ankh Ma'at to that full member. There are a few full members on here. Ankh Ma'at to send Jason Holmes, coming to us from Lincoln, Nebraska. Ankh Ma'at. Christopa, you're also asking about Sudan, the Sudan falling. I'm going to tell you that I am so dismayed by the things that have happened in the Sudan over the past, I guess, around 2 years. And one of the things that even pains me more is the fact that so few of us are even aware of the turmoil in the Sudan. There's so much going on there. It is absolutely painful to see nearly, I believe it's almost 1 million people that have been displaced, tens of thousands who have been killed in the fighting in what we can only call a civil war in the Sudan. Just a few weeks ago, we heard that the government of Sudan retook the capital, Khartoum, but it doesn't seem that that is leading to an end to the civil war. So there's a lot going on, and most of us only, when it comes to conflicts abroad, we only in the United States really hear a little bit about Gaza and a little bit about Ukraine. Recently, we haven't even been hearing much about those places. But why is it that we're not hearing about what is happening in the Sudan? I would argue that the reason why we have not heard this is because we are talking about a conflict on the capital of Africa, on the continent of Africa. And it is believed that Africa is always in turmoil. And so no one cares about it. These Western news sources are certainly less interested discussing what is happening in the Sudan. And it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse with the actions of the current administration in the United States. So there's a lot to be concerned about. And I truly hope that we are at least being informed on what's going on in the Sudan and trying our best to assist in the way we can. I'm not even sure if I can clearly tell you how to assist, other than at this point making more people aware of the ongoing civil war in the Sudan. And I know that it's painful. I was reading some time ago about the bodies that were just found in the river that is today known as the Nile. I mean, it is horrific. It is horrific. So, and it is also the site of the world's largest famine right now. And it is completely a human-made famine. People are starving to death in the Sudan, and we're not hearing anything about it. So it's a real concern. Ran hits Reina, Ankh and Ma'at to you. You've been trying to reach out to me about counseling. I was not aware of that. I did not see your email. Did you send the email to my Shrine email? Jed@shrineofma'at.com. I'm sorry, Jed@shrineofma'at.org. I said .com. I did not see your email. I apologize that I may have missed it. Let's talk this week. If you're in some sort of crisis, we should try to talk this week. I'm not sure if it's wise for me to put my cell phone number down here because not because anyone in the Shrine of Ma'at community has access to it, because most of you do, but this stays on YouTube and on Facebook. So that's the challenge. But please send me an email today to jed@shrineofma'at.org, and let's see if I will look for it today so that we can reach out to each other. Ankh and Ma'at to the Hemnetter Jamar Milton, who was wow, taking your daughter off to college at Towson University. Congratulations. Congratulations. That is amazing that you are doing that. I know you're taking her off to college in May. That's odd, right? Usually there must be something unusual going on for her to be going there now. Did she have a late spring break, or is she doing a summer program, or is she transferred? We haven't spoken in a while, so I'd love to know more about what's happening and how she's doing at Towson. I did know, listen, I'm getting up there in age, right? So none of the people that I knew from Towson are still at Towson. But I am familiar with the university. So, and it's a pretty important university in that region too. Good school. So congratulations. Ankh and Ma'at to Johnny Parker from Brick City, Newark, New Jersey. I am sitting here right now in Perth Amboy, New Jersey. So you should know I'm not that far from you. Ankh and Ma'at to you. Ankh and Ma'at to Heru Duhuti Pata Umika Temra from Oakland, California. Ankh and Ma'at to you. It's wonderful that you're there. Ankh and Ma'at to Battle of Millennia. We must support those Sudis who are trying to be Africans. I'm assuming you're also talking about the fact that the Sudan has had problems with people who are thoroughly Arabized as well. And so they attack those people who were practicing African traditions. Obviously, most people were aware of what was going on in the Darfur region some time ago. That has not stopped. In fact, the folks that are fighting the government are really, in many ways, the next generation of the Janjaweed, those people who are attacking the people in Darfur. So this is really, really concerned. Really concerned. And you texted me as well, Ron Hits, right? Can you text me now? Let's see if I get it. If you can text me now. Listen, my life has been very, very, very complex recently and busy. So I'm all over the place with lots of different hats. I apologize if I missed your text. Please text me again so that we're able to connect, because obviously I'm not familiar with what you're referring to. I didn't see it for whatever reason. Ankh and Ma'at to Cleve Ford, one of our full members, come to us, I believe, from the Q Borough Mad Thorough in Queens, where I was raised. Ankh and Ma'at to you. AES is the Alliance of Sahel States. Oh, yes. Okay. I am not aware of it called AES, but I have been aware of the fact that all of those countries across that region, that semi-arid region right beneath the Sahara, are actually trying to unify and to kick out the foreign influence. I am so concerned about them. They are doing the right thing, but you know very well that these Western powers do not like to be kicked out and to be told that they will only come in under their terms. I can only imagine what France and the United States, perhaps, and other Western nations are doing in a covert manner to try to undermine what is happening in the Sahel. One day we will hear that story. I'm just hoping that they are focused enough and connected enough that they are able to prevent these Western nations from continuing to meddle in their affairs. And so it's a real concern. Yes, real concern. Let's see. You text as well. Hopefully we'll. Okay, Ron Reyna, I got your text, and we'll respond and try to schedule some time. I got it now. Okay, definitely we'll try to speak later today. Swearem DG, what's up, party people? Per Ankh and Ma'at from Atlanta. Ankh and Ma'at to Jahim Ray. Protect Ibrahim Traore. Yes, this is of critical importance. Here we see a revolutionary leader who is focused on empowering his people and preventing those Western powers from meddling in their affairs, from controlling their resources, from making decisions that should be made by his people. And he has been attacked in the West like crazy. But listen, I just got a T-shirt with his face on it. I'm not wearing it, obviously, for Kemetic Ascension, but we really do need to make sure that he is being held in high regard, even here in the West. We should be speaking about him as much as we can. We really should. It's crazy. Kicked out France and United States and all the mines that sued in the airspace. Yeah, listen. They have said, you know what they have said? They have said, I can do bad all by myself. So maybe it means that they may not have as much access to Western money, but they're like, look, we had Western money here and we were struggling. How about let's just get rid of them and figure it out on our own? Can you blame them for saying that these Western powers should leave? Can you blame them? Can you blame them? No. So let them. I'm truly hoping that what happens in the Sahel is going to really move things forward. Once France falls, do you think that France is going to fall? I don't think that France is going to fall. I think that it's going to have some challenges, but France is not. I don't believe the country of France is in that dire straits that it's going to cease being a world power anytime soon. All nations fall at some point, but I don't think that France is due for a major fall. I do think that with turmoil in France, it's possible that they may have less wherewithal to actually to meddle in people's affairs, but it's shifting to the right, just like the United States is. So I'm not exactly sure. I think that those right-wing countries will be perhaps even more brutally, will interfere in those events even more brutally. And the one good thing about what may happen as France turns to the right with regard to Africa is when they do things that are against the interests of Africa, they're probably going to be blatant and obvious and say it out loud, other than what happens with other nations sometimes when power is on the center left, maybe even sometimes the center right. It still doesn't mean that these Western nations aren't meddling in the affairs of African nations. They're just doing it covertly. And one of the things that is happening as the world shifts to the right is that racism is naked. We're dealing with naked racism right now. I'm not saying that one is better than the other, but I am saying it's better to know exactly what's happening. Either way, we need to confront it. Ankh and Ma'at to Shane the Watcher 616. Ankh and Ma'at, my fellow comic book fan, I know you must have you must have seen Thunderbolts by now. I hope you saw Thunderbolts. I saw it on Thursday night. It was good. I enjoyed it. So anyway, I'm hoping you saw it. And we have not spoken here about Sinners. In some ways, the message of Sinners connects to what we are doing. I hope that you have seen the movie, folks. In some ways, one of the interpretations that I think you can get from the story of Sinners is that we must embrace our cultures. We must embrace our traditions, and that Western nations and Western peoples continue to attempt to benefit from them and to take them as their own. Really, really powerful movie. It was interesting, and you should know that the brother who is the writer director, he has the ability. Brother Ryan has the ability to do something. Ryan Coogler does something that I think few other artists are able to do as well. He is able to talk about one thing, have a story about, for example, vampires, and really talk about larger issues, and foster more conversation. The way he is able to do that is amazing, and the movie is doing very well. Of course, if you're not familiar with what's going on, there are many who are critiquing him because he got a really good deal from Warner Brothers, to the point where in a few years, it's quite a few years, he will have complete control of the movie as well. This is the kind of thing, this is the kind of agreement that Black people deserve. Other producers and directors have those deals. No one's talking about those, but now that he's gotten it, people are saying, what? They gave him so much money and so much control? Come on. The reality is that he deserves it. He has a track record of excellence. Every single movie he has put together has done well, has been excellent, has fostered dialogue. Everything from Fruitvale Station, his first movie, all the way up to Sinners, his most recent movie. So he deserves what he gets. Let's see. Anken Ma'at. No, we have nothing to do with France and the Netherlands. We could still go further. France and Germany are not falling right now, folks. They're extremely powerful nations. Germany is perhaps the most powerful economic engine in all of Europe. Germany is not falling. We need to just make sure that we are working amongst ourselves, working to take control of our resources, making sure that our people are aware of their history and their agency in putting forth their own nations without being meddled, the meddling of the Western nations. So I really think that that is what should happen. Anken Ma'at Lorenzo, artister from Tucson, Arizona. Anken Ma'at to you. Americans should worry about America most. Most of you don't know anything about Europe. That's certainly true that most of us don't know anything about Europe. That's very true. But keep in mind that not everyone on this broadcast is in the United States. That's just like you. So there are a number of people who have studied about a bunch of other things. Anken Ma'at to all their resources come from Africa, especially the Sahel. France has no resources. France has been, and many Western nations have been taking from those other countries. Wine and grapes. Yeah, but that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about major resources that are the mainstays of nations. Their wine and grape industry is important, but the diamonds, the gold, the bauxite, the cobalt, all of those things that are so important usually come from the continent of Africa. And so that's a major issue. Jason Holmes says he's seen it twice already. You talking about Sinners? I have not seen it. I'm meaning to see it again. Hopefully sometime this week I will. We'll see. Still reeling from, Sinners, best movie you've seen in a long time. Sinners is one of the best movies that I have seen in a long time as well. You should definitely go see it. You should definitely see it again, because I intend to see it again too. Naima says she enjoyed it. It was wonderful. He's gifted. You must be a bot. I don't think he's a bot. Let's just recognize he's making a comment that is not unimportant, but we're talking about two different things. Okay. Let us jump into what we are meant to jump into. First of all, let me just go ahead and say Anken Ma'at to Black Ace, coming to us from Buffalo, New York. Anken Ma'at. Almost every day you hear Americans say the fall of Europe. We're not talking about, please, Swear MG, we're not saying anything negative about Europe that we would not say about the United States. This is not an American versus Europe thing. I don't know which groups you've been part of. We are people who are primarily people of African descent. And so we have no alliance. Clearly, we recognize what Europe has done that is dangerous. We also recognize that the United States in the current day is doing more things that are even more dangerous. We don't have tent cities. I'm not sure if that's entirely true in all of Europe, but let's not make this the America versus Europe, because that's not the dichotomy that we're discussing here in this conversation. We might be discussing European powers, Western powers versus Africans. That is the dichotomy that we would discuss in this instance. France is falling, even if you don't want to believe it, but can see it. Society commentare, when I say, maybe we're saying something different about falling. I'm saying that nation is not going to cease to exist in anytime soon. It's still an extremely powerful nation. Is it in a difficult situation? Many Western nations are right now, but France is not going to fall within the next few decades and be irrelevant on the national stage. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. And you could disagree. It's okay for you to disagree. Anken Ma'at to Tiffany Stewart. Anken Ma'at to you. Shorem G says you're Dutch. Yes, wonderful. Anken Ma'at to you. Anken Ma'at to Kimberly Blue. Why are you taking offense to the idea of Africa being independent? I don't know if that's what I heard from him. I think he was here. I think you're talking about Swearim G. I think what you may be doing is Swearim G might have been having another conversation that we're not having here. And so that might be part of the issue. Okay. Uranium. Yeah, uranium is a major resource as well. Foundational Black Americans, Anken Ma'at to you. Curtis Jackson, Anken Ma'at to one of our full members, come to us from Painesville, Ohio. And Anken Ma'at to Atu Mantu. Been with you since 2015. Anken Ma'at to you. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, let's go ahead and begin the way we should begin. And that, is with the ritual that we know as the opening of the way. Our elder, Baba Heru Ankh Ra Samad Se Pata, has actually put this ritual together so that we can actually recognize our fundamental power, recognize who we are and from what we are made, so that we understand just how powerful we really are. Very often when we are struggling, we are not actually dealing with who we really are. We're actually dealing with our feeling about our position in the universe. And that can be very disempowering sometimes. But if you recognize that you are the universe, then all of a sudden there are things that you might be able to do that you didn't think you were able to do. So with that, I ask for you to stand and do the opening of the way. And let me ask, as we are doing the opening of the way, if there's someone that is here in the room, here for Kemetic Ascension, that would like to do the opening of the way. Is there someone that would like to come on and do the opening of the way for us? I'm going to put the link in the chat. You should be able to see the link now. This should allow you to do the opening of the way if you'd like. I'm really mostly talking to our initiated members, particularly because we want to make sure that we know who you are when you're coming in, just so that we don't have the challenge of someone who we don't know coming in, who is looking to cause turmoil in our sessions. And we know that can also happen. We also get people who are here, I guess you could say, to troll us sometimes. And so we want to make sure that anyone that comes in is coming in the right energy and is coming in within divine balance. So let's also say Anken Ma'at. There are a bunch of other people who came in. Anken Ma'at to Universal United Front. From Rio de Janeiro, wonderful. Ankin Ma'at to you. Ankin Ma'at to Hemet Netter Seshat, who was there under Shrine of Sekhmet. Ankin Ma'at to you. Ankin Ma'at to Universal Soldier, to Boss Trucker. Where do you need to start? That's a more complex question that I could answer quickly, unfortunately. Ankin Ma'at to Sister Willinette, who we know is all over the place, still in LA. I hope that all things are going well for you. I know that you're in between 3 cities. Ankin Ma'at to you. Ankin Ma'at to Aja Stankovic from LA, from Las Vegas, LV. Ankin Ma'at to you. Okay, let us do the opening of the way. I don't see anyone coming in yet, so let's do it. You should know that what you should do, what you need to do, is you need to stand in the position of adoration. That means standing upright, exposing your palms in front of you, and you want to have the left palm be a bit further forward than the right palm, and the right palm can actually be a bit lower than the left palm as well. It would look something like this, right? Don't break your wrist extensively or harshly. We don't usually see that when we see this position mirrored on temple walls and on papyri. It's important for us to recognize that this position was actually utilized by our African ancestors in the Kemetic Hapi Valley region to both give and receive divine energy. So we hope that you stand in the position of adoration. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take a divine healing breath and then chant the word of Ankh. Ankh is the word for divine life, everlasting life. And then we're going to do the opening of the way. Now, some of you who are relatively new may not really know the opening of the way. Just attempt to do it along with us. And you know that you can always go back to our YouTube channel, to our Facebook page, and look at the opening way so that you can learn it. It is an incredible ritual, an incredible ceremony that will help you address those things in your life that you need to address. So we're asking that you stand with us and do the opening of the way. Take your breath. Anetrak in Bedhet. Nuke in Bedhet. Anetrak Hapi. Nuke Hapi. Twa Winter. Turn to your right. Anetrak Serket. Nuke Serket. Anetrak Keb Senuf. Nuke Keb Senuf. Twa Winter. Turn to the right again. Anetrak Ast. Nuke Ast. Anetrak Amset. Nuke Amset. Twa Winter. Anetrak Neat. Nuke Neat. Anetrak Dwa Mutef. Nuke Dwa Mutef. Twa Winter. Anetrak Newt. Nuke Newt. Anetrak Gab. Nuke Gab. Twa Winter. Anetrak Shoe. 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 Nuke Shoe. Anetrak Tefnut. 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 Nuke Tefnut. Twa Winter. Anetrak Paut in Teru. Nuke Paut in Teru. Anetrak and Boo in Teru. Nuke and Boo in Teru. Twa Winter. Twa Winter. Twa Winter. Twa Winter. please remember that doing the opening of the way is of critical importance. It is how we remember just how powerful we are. And I know that if your life is like mine, if your journey has been like the journeys I am familiar with, there are times that you feel fundamentally disempowered. There are times that you feel that your problems, your challenges, your tasks are larger than you. And that can feel depressing. It can feel disconcerting. It is important to do the opening of the way before you do anything important, because it reminds you that you are the universe, and that being the universe gives you the rights and responsibilities of all of divinity. This is how you will be able to deal with those challenges from a position of power. And so I'm truly hoping that you will do the opening of the way at least every day, at least at the beginning of your day, so that you can remind yourself how powerful you actually are. This is important. So do the opening of the way. Please do the opening of the way. And dua once again to our elder, Baba Heru Ankh Ra Samad Sepata. Let me go ahead and say Ankh and Ma'at. I see a few more people have come in. I see Scribe Sanjeti, Ascension Jeti, the scribe. I have certainly seen your emails and your text after I was supposed to see your emails and your text. Our Sanjeti has been attempting to recognize and have a ceremony for Baba Paor, you should know. Please, I believe you were doing that today. Am I right? I believe that you were doing it today. Please go ahead and put the information in the chat, dear brother Sanjeti, so you're able to let people know what you were doing and when you were doing it. I believe it's today. And so it's of critical importance. I'm not exactly sure if I will be able to attend. I'm supposed to be assisting. My bonus daughter is the way I guess I can call her, with something, and there's also a birthday party and something for my mother. Today is crazy, but I will try to at least pop in to give some energy, if you can. Please go ahead and put that in for us to be able to see. Ankan Ma'at to Miro Adalio, Ankan Ma'at to Solomonic TV. You would love for me to read the tapestry behind me? Well, I'm not going to read all of it. In fact, I'm not even exactly sure if all of the, it looks like this is a decorative papyrus, right? So some of what you are seeing is correct. I believe, in fact, all of the glyphs are actually accurate. So it is saying quite a bit here. This is not really the time for me to go through the papyrus, but I want you to know that even as you see this here, you're seeing the shenu of the person that is being recognized here. This is where that person's name, oh, you can't see what I'm looking at, where that person's name is. I always love, when I used to write this with my name when I first started in the Kemetic tradition, which is kind of, it's meant to say something like, you should shine like Ra. Ankh me, this is Ra, shine, be like Ra. And then here you're saying that you're giving life, and here's the person who is the divine netter and the Sa Ra. So this is really, really well done, actually. And while this isn't really the time to try to read very much of it, I want you to recognize that what you are seeing here is an invocation that is meant for someone as they are making their transition. I was also looking to see if I was going to see the prayer that is used, the incantation that is used when someone is making their transition, but I'm not seeing it here. There's a lot for us to be able to understand in order to truly connect with the tradition. And I just love looking at these old papyri, these old temple walls, to see what our ancestors are doing, so that we could try to do something very similar. Dua to Sanjeti for putting the information in. I'm really hoping that many of you can come in, so that you're able to assist and be there for this celebration of the life of Baba Paor, who was Baba Heru's brother, you should know, his younger brother who passed, who made his transition. Ankan Ma'at to Pamela Green Bryant, one of our full members. Ankan Ma'at, Sinette Pamela. Ankan Ma'at to It's Truth Media. What happened to Sonetter TV? I don't know what's Sonetter. What's happening with? Oh, you're saying I haven't been on I haven't been on Sonetter as much. I've just been really busy. Busy with teaching at Hunter, busy with a lot of other things, busy with life, as you know. So it's been quite busy. But I'm going to be on Sonetter probably this week as well. And so while I am not there as much, I will certainly be there. I'll still be there. And I think I'll probably be there more actually from spring into summer, because my class schedule has changed a little bit. So it's possible that I may be there a little bit more. I'm really hoping that I haven't seen the channel on YouTube. Then you. Thank you. I'm not sure if I know what that means. Sonetter is still there. He just had a debate last night. I thought it was a very interesting debate with Pastor Bennett and Tazariak, talking about whether the biblical salvation is for more than just the Israelites. It was a really interesting debate. I listened to some of it while I was getting ready this morning, and it's fascinating. Anyway, let's continue. Let us continue. As we are going, you know that at this portion of our gathering, we usually do Hessi. And you've already heard me say that while the Neteru and the ancestors have given me so many talents, those that I have tapped into and those that are still a bit raw and undefined and unrefined, I would say to you, holding a key is not one of them. I am not someone who actually has been able to carry a tune very well. But I will say that while I was getting ready, I was doing the old Hessi from the Shrana Pata that you may be familiar with, that we call the Kum Ra Hessi. And so it helped me do what I had to do this morning in preparation. So perhaps we should just do the Kum Ra Hessi. You may actually be familiar with how this works. It is an important Hessi that is decades old. It comes from our root shrine, the Shrine of Ptah. So as we do it, you should recognize that what we are trying to say is that you are a being of divine light that comes from Ra, and you are asking that the secrets of the universe be revealed to you. And so the Hessi usually goes Kum Ra, Kum Ra, Kum Herura, Kum Ra, Kum Ra, Kum Ra, Kum Herura, Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra, Kum Ra 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 Ra, Kum Heru Ra, Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra. That is the Hessi that we would sing so often in the Shrine of Ptah. Ankan Ma'at to Deezy Welly, and Ankan Ma'at to Sister Neftali, who I've seen here. No, I haven't seen you in a while either. What is it you're over here teaching? This is, maybe you haven't seen my this channel before. This is actually, I think you're coming to us from YouTube, the YouTube channel for the Shrine of Ma'at, and every other week we have Kemetic Ascension. So this is what we're doing here. I don't think I've seen you in Kemetic Ascension before. I'd like to finish up on some of our conversations one day on your channel. Would I be interested? I would certainly come to your channel to speak, sis. Just go ahead and invite me. I've been busy, but I'll try to make time to be on your channel. I just put my shrine email in the chat. Go ahead and shoot me something so I know when you're usually recording for your channel. I don't know if it's live. I also would like to know what you think we should chat on. We talked a little bit over the I guess a few years, but we haven't spoken recently. So definitely tell me what you think we should chat about, and we'll do that. Ankan Ma'at to Anthony Drain. Ankan Ma'at to you. Ankan Ma'at. So let's do that Hessi again. Okay? It's Kum Ra, Kum Herura, Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra. Kum Ra 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 Ra, Kum Herura, Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra. Some of you are saying there's no way I'm going to get this today based on you just saying it. Well, remember, this is all being recorded, okay? So go ahead and look at our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, and learn it. I'm going to say to you that when I was an initiate in the Shrine of Ptah back in the late 90s, this is probably 97 or 98, I remember Baba would sometimes be with us and he would say, let's do the Kum Ra Hessi, and they would all do it. No one had ever taught it to me, so I'd just be like, I would just be kind of trying to go along with it a little bit. And then they wouldn't just sing it the way I sang it. This was a group full of people, so a room full of people, so they would also sing it in a round, so that by the time they finished the first stanza, someone would start. And so it'd be going around and around and around, and there'd be those who would be dancing and drumming, and it was amazing. I still didn't know what they were saying. And it wasn't until, I guess this is about 7 or 8 years ago now, Baba Heru found an old cassette tape with Queen Afua doing the Kum Ra Hessi. And then when she did the Kum Ra Hessi, I was able to listen to it, and to listen to her say that it loosely translates to the mystery of the hidden sun is revealed to my face. The mystery of the hidden sun is revealed to my face. That is loosely how it translates. And so now I was able to learn the Kum Ra Hessi. So remember, it goes Kum Ra, Kum Heru Ra, Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra, Kum Ra 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 Ra, Kum Heru Ra, Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra, Kum Ra, Kum Heru Ra, Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra, Kum Ra 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 Ra, Kum Heru Ra, Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra, Kum Ra, Kum Heru Ra, Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra, Kum Ra 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 Ra, Kum Heru Ra, Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra, Kum Ra, Kum Heru Ra, Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra, Kum Ra 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 Ra, Kum Heru Ra, Kum Heru Heru Ra Ra. I love that Hessi. I love that Hessi. It is amazing. I have been hearing that Hessi for, oh boy, since 1997. I guess it's going on 30 years now. I'm getting old. and definitely it is one of those Hessi that it's rhythmic, but it's simple, right? In its formulation. So what you could do is you could use it to just do the things that you do. You're walking to work, do the Kum Ra Hessi. You're washing the dishes, do the Kum Ra Hessi. It's the kind of thing that you can do when you don't need to necessarily focus on something in a very detailed fashion. So that allows you to go into sort of a meditative state as you are doing your work every day. And so please learn the Hessi and do the Hessi. We call it the Kum Ra Hessi, which loosely translates to the mystery of the hidden sun is revealed to my face. Okay. I want to learn the Kemetic culture. I've wanted to forever. Where do I start? It's Truth Media. Let me say to you that we are the Kemetic Ascension, and all that the Shrine of Ma'at does is really about trying to become a higher level practitioner. Our job is to help you do that. So first, let me say tune into Kemetic Ascension every 2 weeks. If you'd like to go even deeper, you can become a full member of the Shrine of Ma'at. We'll be talking about when those will happen soon. We're going to announce when it's going to happen soon. I'm just trying to clear some stuff in my schedule because I lead it. Primarily, I lead initiation. That's another way for you to do that. And then in addition to that, know that becoming a full member means you have access to a full community of practitioners, and there will be additional teaching and training that is open to particularly full members that you'll have access to as well. So definitely, I suggest that you do that. Naftali, I saying you didn't know I had a platform. You subscribed. Dua for subscribing. Yes, this is the platform for the Shrine. It's not really Jabari's platform. It is the Shrine's platform. But I happen to be the chief priest of the Shrine of Ma'at. There are other leaders of the Shrine of Ma'at as well, but this is the shrine that I founded with our former chief priestess, Anika, that I believe you've seen before. Miro Adalio says, you love that Hessi. Dua, brother. Dua. Brother, I think that's a brother in the image. Don't want to mess it up. Dua. It's a Hessi that comes from Baba Heru. I do not know if Baba Heru actually crafted it. I need to ask him that one of those days. And you know the funny thing, even if he did, he probably won't say yes or no. He's going to say that they created it. And that's just how Baba is. He's not going to say, no, I wrote it. He's going to say, we created it, is the way that he'll say it, because just as he was doing so much work within his shrine, and some of that he did really mostly on his own, he had others that were working with him as well. And so that is likely what he will say. Bantu Mandinka says, what did you miss? We did some Hessi. We also did the opening of the way. So you missed those things. But certainly this is all recorded. So you can always go back and take a look. So that while not everyone always joins us live, we have many other people that join us after as well. Harmonic resonance, you say, all true for you. I hope it is. Anken Ma'at to Anthony Jones. Anken Ma'at to you. Anken Ma'at. Swearim D says, you call yourself the Hermetic master. I've read that Hermes is also or often seen as Thoth. Well, yes. Hermes is the Roman version of that Kemetic deity that the Greeks end up calling Thoth. But his original name, you're seeing him behind me, by the way, here, is Jehuti, sometimes rendered or issued as Tehuti. And yes, the origins of that knowledge come from ancient Kemet. And the Hermetic tradition is how the Western people tried to translate these great mysteries of ancient Kemet. And so that's how that works. And now you say the Birdman, there are a lot of deities that have that are equated with birds in ancient Kemet. So saying the Birdman, maybe you're talking about Ra, maybe you're talking about Heru. There are many that would do that. Maybe you're talking about Mantu, who was also depicted as a bird. So it's good to know this bird here is, in English, we usually call it the ibis bird. I think that actually might be coming from the Greeks originally. But in ancient Kemet, we call this bird the Hebi bird. And so that is the way that this is rendered. And it has gone into the Western world. We are trying to gather the wisdom from its original source so we could use it in the modern day. Asato, a sister from Lagos, Nigeria, Anken Ma'at. You might be the person from furthest away, dear sister. How are you, Osato? I'm glad that you're here. Melanated Wisdom, welcome back. We see you all the time, Anken Ma'at. Ms. Diana Unique says, this is your first time here. Anken Ma'at to you. I'm so glad that you're here. Welcome. Welcome to Kemezi. Anken Ma'at. You've been here many times. I can't believe I'm messing up your name, even though I've seen it many times. Anken Ma'at to you. Anken Ma'at to Don Kell and to the Cosmic Guide 8. Peace and love to you as well. Peace and love is like Hetep and Myrrh. And definitely, we even have a chant that has Hetep and Myrrh. That's for another day, not today. So at this point in our gathering, what we usually do is we go into what we call a word from the Sebaid. A word from the Sebaid. And you should know that the Sebaid is generally the name of the genre of literature that had its origin in ancient Kemet that we call wisdom literature. Sebaid means something like teaching literature, so we can translate it as wisdom literature. It's a good way to translate it into the English. And so we usually spend some time talking about how to understand our lives in the contemporary world when filtering these situations through the prism of our ancient Kemetic tradition. And so today, what I wanted to talk to you a little bit about is wisdom in sacred motherhood. And I truly believe that this is an important conversation today because we are in that period of the year where we are right on the cusp of Mother's Day. And we know that mothers are the most important individuals in our lives. They give birth to us. They assist us in becoming the individuals we are meant to become. It is so important for us to give divine thanks to our mothers. And it becomes even more important, I would argue, in the Western world, where women have been described as secondary to men. In fact, when you read some of the writing from the Abrahamic tradition, sometimes you'll even hear that women are meant to be obedient to men, that men are connected to God and then women are connected to men. These are how some of these descriptions have been issued. And I would argue that because of that, it is of critical importance to us for us to recognize the primary role of women, and particularly in this instance, mothers. Take a look at these images. You're seeing a wonderful mother there reading a book with her daughter. By the way, I love that this image is focused on mom, but recognize that they didn't forget dad. In the background, you see dad with who I think is probably the son. They're doing work. They're trying to say, listen, this woman and her daughter are part of a family unit. And that unit has not removed the man. While this picture is focused on mom and daughter, let's not forget that dad and brother are still part of the picture too. And I love how this image has been created. And then on the left, you are seeing a woman standing with her son. I believe that this lady is from Kenya. I believe that we're looking at a Maasai woman, although I could be wrong. I'm looking at her clothing and looking at the hairstyles, and it makes me think that she is likely Maasai. But I could be wrong because I don't remember where I got this picture from. I do know that I've always found it beautiful, and I just love the fact that when you look at mom's face, she is very interested in what is happening, who's taking this picture. But look at the son. The son is like, I do not know you, but I know that I'm safe with mom. Look at his expression. You're like, who is this taking a picture of me? I am in the safety of my mother's arms. And this is of critical importance. We see these images of children being nurtured by mom. And when I see these, I recognize, just as we do it successfully today, we have a guide, we have a model, we have a paradigm that has been given to us from ancient Kemet. In the middle, we are seeing an image of Ast with her son Heru on her lap. And she, as you see her using her right hand, holding her left breast. By the way, I wish I had time to talk about why the right hand holding the left breast is of importance, but it is not. They didn't just say, oh, it's easier for her to hold that breast. There's symbolism there too. But I want you to recognize that what we are seeing that we are actually noticing that this woman is giving this child that which is necessary for him to become who he must become. That is so powerful to me. And we know that so many of our mothers have done this for us, And as we receive these great mothers have given us so much, it is of critical importance for us to receive and to accept that we must give thanks to our mothers, not just our individual mothers, our literal mothers, but also our mothers in general, in our community, in our nations, and in our thought. This is of critical importance. I see, and Dua Seshad for putting the information on Facebook. I think that when Sanjeti put it in earlier, he put it on YouTube. So it's helpful for you to put it on Facebook as well. Dua, dua, dua. Ankan Ma'at to Heal My Roots. Ankan Ma'at to Lydia Lorraine. First time from England. Ankan Ma'at to you. I'm so glad that you are here. By the way, Heal My Roots. I see you saying wonderful video. This is being recorded, but you are live. So this is live. And Sister Natali, you're saying, you know that these people are the Hamar. I think that you might actually be correct on this. They are part of the Oromo people of Ethiopia. That's, I think, who this lady actually is. I think you're right about that. Ankan Ma'at to Tall God Heru. Ankan and Ma'at to you and Anku Jasaneb. For those of you who don't know, he is saying life, strength, and health. Saba or Siba, he's saying teacher. Dua to you, Tall God Heru. Let's continue. I just want really quickly to give you some of the history on the existence of Mother's Day in the United States. It is sometimes important. Well, it's always important for us to understand the origin of things. And while I am not saying that Mother's Day is strictly, primarily, or originally something that was celebrated here in the West, it is important to understand the origins of the celebration that occurs in the United States. It is fascinating to me. You are actually seeing that a woman named Anna Marie Jarvis was the person that said that there should be a celebration known as Mother's Day in the United States in 1908, and she was celebrating her mother. Obviously, this is a Tamil woman. This is a woman of European descent. And she's saying, why are we not thinking about women? While she's Tamil, while she's Western, she was absolutely right. She was absolutely right. And she says here, you can't see everything because my head is in the way. There we go. She says here, interestingly, that as she was trying to create this celebration, she was focused on her mother, a woman named Anna Reeves Jarvis, who had served communities in the North, by the way, during the Civil War. It's important to mention in the North because her mother was not serving in the South to the Confederates. And so that's important. And she said, I hope and pray that someone, sometime, will found a memorial Mother's Day, commemorating her for the matchless service she renders to humanity in every field of life. She is entitled to it. This is an important comment. I think that she was correct. Our Western society, the society that so many of us are ensconced in right now, even though our origins are from elsewhere, we should recognize that women have been given secondary status. And so for Anna Marie Jarvis to say, why is it we're not celebrating mothers? She was correct. And you should know that shortly after she proclaimed this day in 1908, something interesting happened. Florist and greeting card companies jumped on it. and they began to make large profits from the day. Anna Marie Jarvis was angered by the fact that it became a very commercial day. Rather than a day for people to truly celebrate their mothers, rather than a day for people to spend time with their mothers, to give love to their mothers, to assist their mothers with the things that they were doing on a daily basis, she was angered that now what was happening is it was just a day for you to buy a trinket and give it to mom. She was really, really upset and began saying, this is interesting. She said, here's her quote, "A printed card means nothing except that you are too lazy to write to the woman who has done more for you than anyone in the world. And candy, you take a box to mother and then eat most of it yourself. A petty sentiment." Can you imagine? She was really angered by the commercialism of Mother's Day. It has become extremely commercial. There are all sorts of ways that people profit on the day. And I'm not suggesting that we should ignore giving our mothers things that might make them smile, like flowers and cards and all those other things. But her point is one that we should understand. She's saying, are you really focused on your mom, or are you just doing something so that you cannot feel guilty? And then that something is usually the easiest thing you can do. She's absolutely correct. She was so angered by the direction she saw Mother's Day going in that she actually tried to cancel it. She tried to end this day that she created. And she actually died in a sanitarium in 1948, extremely bitter about how this day had come into existence, had begun to be celebrated. And she herself had no children. So imagine how much of a great critique she gave on the day she created herself. Imagine that. Imagine it. So you should understand that while Mother's Day is a good day in our secular calendar, so that everyone around us, our entire community in some ways focuses on mom, we should also recognize that it is not the Western people who did this first. Surprise, surprise. As I speak to those of you who are in this room, I know that you are not surprised in the least that this is something that the Western people were late to. We see all sorts of prehistoric ways that we celebrate the Divine Mother in Kemet, in ancient Africa. It is the Westerners that rendered women as secondary. That is not something that we see in the older African world. Look at these two images. Look at these two images. The one on the left is a Kemetic deity, a Kemetic female Neter, or Netert. And so is the one on the right. I'm going to tell you they're so old that we don't know what they were named. We don't know what they were named. Where are these statues? You know I'm going to ask this. For those of you who have been part of Kemetic Ascension, who have been part of the shrine for a long time, you know that when I show you this, I always ask you where they are. Why? Because if you go to the institutions that have these artifacts, you can do more learning. And so understanding where they are is not irrelevant, even though they are, surprise, surprise, not in Kemet anymore. They're not in modern Egypt. Where are they? Where's the one on the left? Where's the one on the right? Who knows? Come on, who knows? Anybody? You know, the person that I expected would answer this question, he may be away from keyboard right now. I thought it would probably be Sen Jason. Who remembers where these are? Has anyone seen them with their own eyes? Well, let me tell you, the one on the Société Commémorée says London, I think you mean London and France. These particular ones aren't, or France, okay. Sakina Ra, Ankan Ma'at Sakina Ra, I don't know if I greeted you before. Ankan Ma'at to you. She said in the British Museum. Cleaford says the Brooklyn Museum. Y'all aren't telling me which one is which. You think they both? Okay, Sen Cleaford says, and also Jahim Ra says the left is in the Brooklyn Museum. You are correct. That one is in the Brooklyn Museum. Sometimes she is called the Bird Lady because of the unusual way that her face is rendered. Sometimes she's called the Bird Lady. You are going to see her on very early what do you call it? Very early vessels, very early vases or vases, jugs, and you'll also see this statue as well. The one on the right is in the Metropolitan Museum. And I'm going to tell you that both of them are so old that when some, particularly the one on the right that is in the Metropolitan Museum, it's so old and so important that whenever they're doing any kind of street work outside of the museum, they move her someplace for safekeeping. That's how important she is. So when I'm doing tours of the Met, sometimes when I go, guess what? I go to the Met and she's not there. I have to have an image on my tablet so I can show people what's normally in that case. If they are doing as much as fixing a pothole in the street outside the museum, she is gone. The oldest deities of Kemet, as I said to you a moment ago, so old that we do not know their names. I also want you to recognize that some of the even older statues that we have discovered are actually, there's been a lot more archaeological work done in Europe than there has been on the continent of Africa. But you'll note that these three are not even on the African continent. They're older. The one on the left you can see is usually called the Venus of Willendorf. She's from Austria. It's believed that she is somewhere from 28,000 to 25,000 BCE. Then you see the Venus of Dolny Vestonsis in Moravia, 29,000 to 25,000 BCE. And then we have the Venus of Lossel in France at around 25,000 BCE. Notice they're around the same time. I would argue that even though they're in Europe, they're still talking about women that we would consider women of African descent. Notice the one on the left, by the way, got cornrows in her hair. I want you to recognize that in many ways, we are still talking about those wonderful ancient African women. And you're seeing that most of them have larger bellies, sagging or drooping breasts, larger hips. They are larger women. I believe that this is a connection supposedly to the idea of fertility. And notice that none of them, the ones in Kemet or the ones here, have distinguished faces. Why? Because I believe they are talking about womanhood, motherhood, not specifically a particular mother. That these are totems, these are models, these are statues that are meant to remember, for us to remember a particular divine energy, the divine procreative energy that comes with femininity. Powerful in my understanding. I want you to recognize also that they're all usually called Venuses. Venus was a Greco-Roman deity. These ladies, both in Kemet and these old ones in Europe, existed long before the concept of a Venus. In some ways, it is unfortunate that they have been named that. I want you to know that there was a time in our world that when we describe the divine force, we describe the divine force as feminine. That there was a time in the development of humanity when we recognized the power and divinity in women. Unfortunately, today, most of us, particularly those of us who are ensconced in the West, have forgotten this. We now think of the divine as something that is strictly male. That is unfortunate. That is unfortunate. So, with all of this powerful modeling, all of this powerful allegory that is used to describe the power of motherhood, I want you to know that the oldest ceremonies that we have in writing, all of those deities I just showed you exist in many ways before writing was something that was common. We believe writing comes into existence somewhere around 3500 BCE, and that the two initial literate nations are Kemet and Sumer. Before that, we don't see writing. And if modern humans have been in existence for somewhere between 250 and 300,000 years, for the overwhelming majority of the time that humans have been in existence, there was no writing. But when we finally see celebrations of divine motherhood in writing, we see them in Kemet. We see them in Kemet. And the oldest celebrations to motherhood that we have that are extant are in Kemet. You should know that there was a great celebration to Ast. Ast is the mother of Heru. I showed you this statue earlier. And as you go even further and you look for descriptions of her great journey, she's the wife of Asar, who the Greeks ended up calling Osiris. You should know that there were great celebrations that came into existence, and they were generally held on the vernal or spring equinox for 4 days, and also for 4 days at the vernal equinox, and also for 4 days at the end of October. There was a major drama that focused on Ast in ancient Kemet. I see Yvonne Van Zarovich. No, I'm sorry. Yes, said there. That will be Gaia. I think Gaia is one name that we know for Mother Earth, but I don't think you're going to find a description of Gaia that predates Ast. You should know. You should know. Satiety Kantamari says the writing system was around 350,000 at latest document. No, we don't see writing that early in the world. The earliest writing systems we see are from about 5,000 years ago, a little bit more than 5,000 years ago. We certainly don't see writing that early. In fact, it's even difficult for us to find that there were modern humans as early as you're stating. Modern humans are believed to have developed around somewhere between 200,000 and 300,000 years. I know you say you got proof. I'd love to see what you're reading to show me that. But as someone who teaches African history from human origins to 1600 CE, and then also teaches African history from 1600 CE to the Common Era, from my research, I have not seen writing that is older than 5,000 years old. And I'd love for you to show me what you're reading so that we can talk about it. Love is not a deep transcendent bond, but a biological deception and illusion created by nature to ensure reproduction. I don't know if I believe with you. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know why. I mean, do you think that anything that comes in our biology is deception? I don't know if that's necessarily true. But a calculated instinctual force designed to serve one person in continuation of the species. I certainly believe that love is one thing that can actually assist us in continuing the human species. I truly believe that. But let's be really clear that you may love people that you do not procreate with. It may be something that exists in our being so that we can continue to replicate ourselves. But that, I think, is in some ways is a highly reductive way to describe the idea of love. How about the love that a parent has to a child, or a love that you may have for someone who is a brother or sister? Those are certainly not in that way the kind of love that we reproduce, right? How about the child to the parent? We're not reproducing with them. I truly believe that those emotional attachments that we have are more than something that we can easily describe in terms of science and nature. And so I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that you might be minimizing it a bit. It's larger and bigger than what you've described. I created the narcissist psychopath, and I'm not sure if I understand what that means. Sort of G. T. Colbin, Ankh and Ma'at to you. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that you're there. Okay, let's continue. You should know that Ast becomes an archetype. She becomes the model. She becomes the divine example for mastering the divine power within us all and for victory over suffering. Similar to the way that early Christians ended up really being connected to Mother Mary because they recognized that she had such sorrow and such pain because of the killing of her son. Long before the idea of Mary, we see that in Ast, who is depicted as one who is in great sorrow because of the murder of her husband. And so this idea that Ast is an important concept, just as Mary becomes an important concept later, is something that we should all give some thought to. The very idea of Ast is that we must maintain our divinity, understand our divine mission, our divine calling, even when we are at our most sorrowful. And certainly we see Ast as one who maintains her mission in sorrow, but then is able to be victorious after all of that. More than any other divine character, Ast actually also takes the Kemetic understanding into the Western world. And clearly we see that Mary borrows from the narrative of Ast. And there have been many authors to write about that. I think that one of the books that I enjoy that I read many years ago is called Isis in the Ancient World. And it's by Ari Witt, and is a really, really good book. It goes down how we see Ast then connected to this narratives of the ancient world, and going into the Western world. And so I think you might actually get a lot out of it. Of course, he's talking about Ast in the Western world. And so I'm not suggesting that he's going to teach you about the Kemetic understanding, but I think that it's helpful because it helps us understand just how informative Ast becomes, how important Ast becomes. Here's the book here by Ari Witt, Isis in the Ancient World. Good book. Good book. For those of you who have it, you might actually really, really benefit from it. And it would be really, really amazing, I think. It's a good read. It's a good read. So let's continue. Okay. You're seeing here the image of Mary supposedly with Jesus, and clearly this image itself is a later corollary to the one of Ast and Heru, as you may know. And we know that even it is likely that as we see the quote unquote Black Madonna in many, many of the old Western or European churches, it is likely that this is an echo of the tradition that was first described in the relationship between Ast and Heru, or as the Greeks would have called them, Isis and Horus. And so that is of critical importance. And then here we see two images of Ast, who was meant to be in sorrow because of the murder of her husband. Both of these, by the way, are in the Louvre. I've seen them both, and they're amazing artifacts of Ast. And here, some of you have seen this before. This is actually the coat of arms of Paris. And you may notice that in the story of Paris, they attempt to say that the wisdom, the fundamental creation of that city, actually comes from the knowledge of Ast coming into the West. Look at who was on the prow of this boat. Can you see that that is Ast, complete with the throne on her head and the Ankh in her hand? This is how we know that these traditions become extremely influential in the West. By the way, Paris, there are some that argue that Paris is likely, including myself, by the way, is likely a description of the Per Ast, which was a large temple that was in Paris. The Per Ast, the temple to Ast, or the Per Isis, the temple to Isis, and that is where the name Paris comes from. Swearam G and Yvonne, you all are talking about dog persons and all that other stuff. Please listen to what's being said. That's more important than what you're talking about. As we continue this narrative, we should always be aware of the story of the divine feminine. You can see Asar in the front. I won't be here much longer, by the way. I'm running a little bit later than I thought. It's already 1:30, so I'm going to conclude very soon. Look at the narrative of Asar, who is the resurrected deity. And then you'll also see the two ladies who assisted in his resurrection. His wife, Ast, is the one that has the throne on her head. And then you also see, here it is, you see his other sister, the great lady that the Greeks called Nephthys, that we know as Nebet, or Neb-Tethet, some people will say her name. And together, these two ladies helped in the resurrection of Asar. They assist him in coming back into existence. This is important. This is our understanding of how we see the divine resurrection occur. And it only occurs through the assistance of the divine feminine. Even here you're seeing in this image, Ast and Nebet. Notice their headdresses, right? The same ladies from this image. You're seeing here that they are resurrecting Asar. This pillar in the middle is called the Jed column. It is meant to be symbolically the backbone of Asar, and they are raising the backbone through divine energy, and this is what allows him to resurrect. How do you know? Because as you see this backbone standing upright, on top of it, you see the symbol for everlasting divine life, the Ankh, and then these two arms are meant to be the Ka, his soul. His soul is resurrected. Look at the divine illumination that occurs. And where does he go? Into heaven. If you look at this bluish, greenish bar at the top, you'll notice that it's supposed to be a rectangle with these triangles on the end. This is the glyph for Pet. Pet means heaven. So these two ladies resurrect the murdered Asar into heaven. By the way, it occurs at dawn. Notice the sun. And it also occurs in a rocky place. Notice that they are standing between two mounds. This is the symbol for the horizon. And you can see that the baboons, who actually recognize the divinity of the sun, are standing on the rocks as he is resurrected. This, I believe, is where the origin of the idea of the two Marys seeing the resurrection of Jesus at the tomb comes from. This symbol, this ceremony was called, took place in a part of the temple that was called the Hall of the Appearings. Why? Because they would recognize the appearing of the resurrected soul of Asar. This is the origin of those ideas. Without the divine feminine, there is no resurrection. Did you hear what I said? Without the divine feminine, there is no resurrection. So I just want to talk about Nebet quickly, and then we'll close for the day. You'll notice that this great statue is one that is meant to be of the sister of Asar. They're both his sisters, by the way, but this is the sister of Asar and the wife of his brother, of her brother too, who murdered Asar. The brother's name is usually rendered as Seth or Set. It seems that the oldest version of his name was Setesh. Setesh. He is the jealous brother who kills Asar, his brother, so that he can take the throne. It was a coup. And so what do we know about? We talk about As very often in Kemetic Ascension. Much less often do we talk about this divine sacred mother and this sacred sister, Nebet. So really quickly, you should know a few things about her. When the Greeks start describing her, they call her Nephthys. She is a member of the Pesejet. The Greeks call the Pesejet the Ennead. These are the 8 original deities of Kemet. You'll hear the word Ennead, know that the Kemetic name is the Pesejet. And she is part of these great deities that exist in the town of Iunu. Iunu is sometimes called On in the biblical description. And the Greeks end up calling this city Heliopolis, the city of the sun. Her name is often translated as the lady of the house. Nebet Het. Nebet is lady, just like Neb is Lord. And Het is house. So she's the lady of the house. She's the sister of Asar. She's the wife of Setesh, as I mentioned. And she is often the opponent of Apep, the snake that seeks to destroy the sun at every day. She's a protector of Asar, and she's the aunt and the nursing mother of Heru. In the oldest descriptions, we hear that Heru climbs to the knees of his aunt. She helps nurse him and raise him. She's sometimes considered the mother of Anpu, but Anpu is sometimes the son of Bast or As. Anpu is the deity that the Greeks end up calling Anubis, the jackal head deity. Anpu or Yinpu is his original name. She is the mother of fiery reckoning, because in I believe this is in the what are sometimes called the pyramid text, it says that she incinerates the enemies of the king. Incinerates the enemies of the king. You pray to her to do away with your enemies. That's pretty powerful. That's pretty powerful. She's a protector of Hapi in the Mesu Heru. You know that when we did the opening of the way ceremony in the beginning, we're speaking the names of the deities that protect the divine organs of the person who has made their transition. Well, you should know in this story, she, Nebet, is the first name that we call, and she's the protector of Hapi. Hapi is the lungs. And she is also a Bennu bird. She's a protector of the Bennu bird. The Bennu bird is what the Greeks end up calling the phoenix. Did you know that the phoenix is actually a Kemetic idea? and that we call that idea the Benu. It comes from Kemet. She is known by many other epithets or names. She's known as Enbet of the Bed of Life, and also the Queen of the Embalmers. The Bed of Life is the bed that the deceased are laying on before they resurrect. And obviously the embalmers are those who prepare a body at the funeral in order for them to enjoy sacred everlasting life. She's also connected to festive ceremonies. She's connected to beer. In the pyramid text, it says she removes the king's hangover. That's pretty cool. Imagine when you've been out drinking too much, you should pray to Enbet to assist you with your hangover. She's the queen of darkness that allows one to see. And she's sometimes represented by the kite bird or a falcon. She is a mistress of sacred words. Sometimes in the Western world, we'd call this magic, but I would say they're sacred words, or hekau, words of power. She's a mister of fertility, and together with her sister, she is known as the Mary, or the beloved ones. Just as there were two Marys that visited, that went to notice the resurrected soul of Jesus at the tomb, the two ladies that resurrect the Tsar were also called the Mary. But you should understand that they obtained those names thousands of years before the story that we hear of Jesus. So there's a lot for us to know about Nebet. There's a lot for us to understand about this sacred lady. Here's a kite bird, by the way. Those are scary looking birds, if you ask me. Look at those red eyes. And you're seeing the two ladies here, Nebet. Oh, this is still Nebet in both places, actually. She is also the sister of Isis, of Ast. Yes, she is her sister. There are several different utterances of her. In the Merkuti text, or the pyramid text, we see utterance 216, line 150 that says, I have come to you, Nebet. I have come to the evening barge. I have come to you. True is she over the red. I have come to you, she who remembers the souls, the cause. Remember him, Unas. Then utterance 219, we see, Nebet, this your brother is here, Asar, whom you have preserved alive. He lives, he lives. This Unas lives. He is not dead. This Unas is not dead. He has not gone down. This Unas has not gone down. He has not been judged. This Unas has not been judged. He judges. This Unas judges. What are they saying? They're saying that in this instance, this particular version of the Merkuti text was written for Unas. So they are saying that Nebet had assisted him in being preserved and coming back to life, and that he lives. He is now a judge. Utterance 222 says, he comes down to meet his adversary and stands up, the greatest chief in his great kingdom. Nebet praised him after he had been captured, after he had captured his opponent. Not exactly sure what that means. But remember, this is mostly based on a ritual. And so it's not a narrative description. Some of these descriptions are things that have sort of been lost and we need to recover. We also see it said that they say, you go up, you go down, you go up with Nebet, darkened with the evening barge. You go up, you go down, you go up with Ast, you rise with the morning barge. These are the two boats that assist you in making the journey to the afterlife. So you're seeing here, I am standing in the Holy of Holies. This is actually at the temple of Dender. And I ask, if you're going to invoke Nebet, what cow will you say? What foods will you use? What offerings will you use? What music, symbols, and fragrances would you use in your invocation of Nebet? How would you prepare your altar to the Divine Mother? Take a look at these altars. One of them is from our former chief priest, Anika. This is the altar she has to her mother in her office. And the other you can see is one of the traveling altars from the Shrine of Ma'at. What are you going to do in order to invoke these divine ladies? I'm hoping that you will give that some thought today as we are preparing this week to celebrate our mothers in the secular world. Simply because Mother's Day is a secular celebration does not mean that we should stay away from it. I think that at any time that people are celebrating their mothers, we should do the same. But we should also understand that our celebrations to the Divine Mother are much older, much longer, and we don't just wait for one day to celebrate our mothers. So, what are you going to do to celebrate not only your mother and those women, mothers around you, but what are you going to do to celebrate the divine feminine? Please send us some information on your Facebook page. Make your comments below our video in Facebook and on YouTube so we know how you will do your divine altar work this week, preparing for the celebration of the Divine Mothers. With this, I'm going to leave you. It's time for me to go. I have a bunch of other things to do today. Let me go ahead and say to you that the divine force in me reach the divine force in you. Amasu and Panter, Sauksu Mithra and Panter, Autu Aura, Maketi Paharu Yara. Give yourself to the one most high. Keep yourself daily for the divine and do it tomorrow just as you did it today. Twa Winter. Thank you to the divine. I hope to see you all soon. Please understand that tomorrow, for those of you who are full members in the evening, we will have another shrine meeting. Please understand you'll be using the same link, and I'll also remind you on our Facebook page. With all of that, let me say, Ankh and Ma'at to you. Please live your life in divine balance. And finally, Shem and Ma'at, go forth in divine balance. See you all soon.